Hey guys, we're the Jersey Comic Crew, and in today's video, we're going to talk about Batman the Three Jokers. Issue number 2 just dropped. Make sure you stay tuned to learn more. Hey guys, we're the Jersey Comic Crew, and you already know what we're going to talk about today. Three Jokers, issue number 2. As always, I'm Rob Moran, and with me is Chris Heller. Are you? I hope you're ready for a wild ride.
Oh, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yes. So this is the penultimate issue in the Three Jokers story arc. It's only 3 issues here.
Crazy.
It's This issue to me was not as good as the first issue. The first issue, had that big wow, that spectacle, especially with the
Mhm.
Joker dying. Spoilers if you haven't watched our latest video. But this issue, there's a lot of setup, a lot of big important things do happen here, especially with Jason Todd, right?
Yeah.
So in the beginning of this book, we see kind of Joker goes back to a family, which I thought was immediately strange, right?
Mhm.
And he's trying to have dinner with his wife and his daughter, and it turns out it's all a mental image. One of the Jokers, is fantasizing about being normal, which
Yeah.
just further supports that these people are all different. And the Jokers are still on this mission, Chris, to find this third Joker.
Mhm.
And one of the theories that you had with the last issue, we kind of see come to fruition here, or at least get answered, right?
It was like
Chris.
I was kind of like half right.
Right? Yeah. So why don't you tell me, refresh my memory and the memory of our audience here, real quick, what your
Yeah.
theory was and what exactly happens here with regards to your theory, which
Yeah, my
was
my
pretty spot
theory
on.
originally in the first one, because it kind of centered around Jason Todd and the thought process of, Jason has never been the same since he was attacked as Robin before he died and eventually became Red Hood after he was put in the Lazarus pit. And me, myself, and a bunch of other, uber comic nerds have always kind of theorized that he's come out of it more as a Joker Robin
Yeah,
and portraying the Red Hood, which the Joker used to be, and all that stuff when he came out of it and was no longer connected to Batman. And
they brought
this
that up
kind of,
last issue, right? They said you're like almost
yeah,
like my Robin. You're doing my work for me.
yeah, which is why he kills Joker, one of them.
Yeah,
And so this one kind of semi confirmed it. Like, Red Hood's going on this rampage throughout the city, trying to find where the Jokers are. It leads him to the Gotham City pool, which is condemned. Of course it is. And he kind of walks in and finds out that the Joker, the Jokers plural, are doing these tests on random people to see if whatever turns them into the
and it's
Joker
a lot of people, right?
sticks.
It's a
It's a
lot.
lot of people, and they're using the pool like it's filled with chemicals. I'm guessing Ace Chemicals, which is one of the origins as well. We don't really know how they make the new Jokers. It's just kind of,
They were like all sitting in like the vat. Like I guess they were just like sitting in the pool for so long, and they become twisted and dark. You know?
I guess, and you kind of walk in and like with the point of view of Red Hood, right? And you're like, oh my god, look at all these dead people in this pool, and they're not dead. And like the guy like grabs his leg and is like, help me, you know what I mean? And it's like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then it goes on to kind of the Joker's capture him, and they kind of do a redux of Death in the Family.
Definitely, yeah. It's like they the original Joker who bashed Jason Todd's brains in have Jason. They take off his hood and they kind of go into this like, we thought you were the one. We thought you were going to be the next one of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, why did you put on the red hood? He's like, it's for a joke. And he's like, oh, isn't that funny? They put the mask back on them, right? The red hood, but it
Mm-hmm.
has the Joker smile. And I was like, oh, one, it looked so creepy, guys. I'm sure you've seen it right now. It's super intense. And I was like, this is Chris's theory, 100%. He's going to become the Joker.
Yeah.
And they just take a crowbar, smash it into the side of his head. He falls down hard, and they start beating on him. And I'm thinking, are they trying to break him again to
Mm-hmm.
put the chemicals in? And they stated that, you know what, right now you're not right to be the Joker. You know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you'll prove us wrong and come back and be reborn again as a Joker. You were a criminal reborn by the bat. You died and were reborn into the Red Hood. Maybe one more time you'd be reborn into the Joker. So they still have this hope for him being the Red Hood, right? Eventually, we do see Barbara and Batman come into there before Barbara pretty much chewed out Batman and Bruce, saying, "Hey, you should have been there more for Jason. You should have
Yeah.
helped him. You should have had a talk with him." And Batman kind of gives like almost like these politician answers, like, I thought he was better than you. Better. I thought he was more like you with the trauma. Oh, it wasn't right. He was so angry. I didn't know he was like. I was like, Bruce, just own up to your shit, right? Sometimes you have to.
I mean, he eventually did,
Yeah.
right? Like Bruce was like, you're right, I should have been there, and it's like, Barbara's kind of they're and they're talking over the mics because she's on her bike and he's in the Batmobile,
Mm-hmm.
which the art is phenomenal with Jason Fabok, where you could kind of see her reflection off of the glass of the Batmobile, and like he rolls the window down to have his kind of like finishing statement of like, I thought he was going to turn out more like you. That's what I was hoping for with how she deals with trauma. With Barbara's stake in this, I think she cares about Jason. Obviously, we see like they saved Jason, right?
Yeah, she
And
kicks down the bro. Dude, when she kicked down the door and like you see the art, which is great, like the grit
yeah,
of her teeth just gnawing at herself, and then you
yeah,
see like almost like these zombie jokers just swarming them, fighting.
yeah,
Like, kind of made me a little worried, but like ultimately they do save him, which just goes to show how important they are. She brings him back to the apartment, and then we get a scene that I like a lot. But I want to get your opinion.
yeah. I thought it was a nothing scene. It was so like they're talking, and it was kind of like, okay, they're clearly gonna kiss, and
You didn't know this? How did you
yeah,
know that?
no, it was clear because the emotional toll of this situation for them two specifically
Mm-hmm.
has been heightened by the first book, right? Like we see the trauma Jason's been through, we see the trauma Barbara's been through,
Yeah.
and that's something they share together. Like that is
Okay.
specifically shared with just them two. No one else can kind of know the trauma. Um, and so they like, they share a kiss, and immediately Barbara's like, I shouldn't have done that. Like, don't think of it as anything. Like, I just want you to know that there are people that care about you.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason's like, totally get it. I don't like when I don't like when comics kind of force the female to be a relationship like status.
Look, I'm with you 100% on that. Like, I don't want you to force a female character to automatically be in a
The girlfriend.
romantic relationship with someone, like the girlfriend of someone. But like you said, with this, the emotional
Mm-hmm.
stakes were higher, right? They were
Yeah.
both emotionally raw, like clinging out to each other for some solidarity, for some help with each other. And like to me, that kiss felt natural, right? And then
Yeah,
after what
absolutely.
and then after when he said Barbara's like, we shouldn't have done this, and Jason's like, it just feels so good to know that somebody cares this much about me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it
Like
felt
I didn't
natural
know
there.
anyone cared.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anyone cared about anything that happened to me. And also the trope of this is part of somewhere in the timeline of comics, right? And Barbara and Dick are always on and off again.
Yeah.
So to have kind of like Barbara in the family being Dick's girlfriend and then jumping to Jason just doesn't look right all the time or feel right
I'm
all the
still I'm
time.
still at the point where I want Dick Grayson to be with Starfire. That's where my official stance is. I want
Hey, I
them to
mean
be a
that could
thing.
be the thing too. And who knows? I mean, stuff happens. I mean, but this isn't a book about that
No,
type of
it's not.
relationship to me. Um, but I will say I thought the redoing of Jason getting like death in the family again was kind of weak. And
What do
I
you mean
thought
by
it was
that?
because it's a trope we've seen. It's one of the biggest storylines in Batman history, right? Like, not only was it big as far as what happens to Robin and the Joker did it, but it was something that the fans got to decide on. Like, you called a number back in the 80s to see if you wanted Jason to live or die, and they had stories ready to go.
Well, I don't think it's I don't think one it's a trope yet because this is the second time they kind of done it, right? I think this is a perfect piece to it, like to put Jason through this again. Like if the Jokers are trying to force him into that,
Mm-hmm.
and he was already reborn. To me, it makes sense that they kind of done this again, but they obviously didn't destroy him like they did before. It was more like sending a message to
Yeah.
Jason and to Bruce. So I don't think it was like a simple rehashing to do just to
Yes and
get
no.
people more on board with this, because it's a scene in an overarching story, not a now the whole story doesn't revolve around it. Like if the whole story revolved around the remake of of Jason Todd's death, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would be with you. I'm like, all right, we don't need to do this trope again, but I think this is a scene in the overarching story that pushes the story forward. That's
Yeah.
why I'm fine with it. I'm on the opposite side of it than
No,
you are
I
here.
get that, and that's fine. I just think that in that specific part of the book, right? I love the symbology of Jason Todd going up to the pool and pulling a crowbar out of his back.
That was
Like to
great.
me,
Like that's
that
good.
was like the powerful,
Yeah.
like, oh, he's not over this. Like he wants revenge in the same vein.
But like
Um,
also him getting hit in the head, right? And the Joker
yeah,
smile, right? Like, yeah, it's a redux, but it also shows like symbology. Like he's also not over it. As much as he wants to take the
mhm.
power in his own hands, him putting the crowbar in, he's still not over the event that happens because he still gets hit in the head with the crowbar again.
I don't know. Maybe for me, because this book has been so hyped as you've never seen anything like this before, right? The
True, you
Three
do have
Jokers
that.
concept is so kind of bonkersly new that there's more than one, and how we're going to explain it. And you have the two kind of biggest DC property people on this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like nothing was going to be kind of familiar besides flashbacks or talking about it. But
Okay.
I'm not mad at it that it happened. I'm just saying, for me personally, it was a trope that I could have went without if they did something new.
Okay. I
But
get
anyway,
that.
moving on.
Yes. Go ahead.
So as far as Barbara's part in this, um, I think what was brilliantly done, which we didn't see as much in the first one, is when she brings Jason back to the apartment and she
Mm-hmm.
leaves to talk to Batman and is, kind of goes on patrol for a little bit again. And Jason is kind of walking around her apartment, absorbing all the trauma that she went through and how she got through it. And honestly, how much stronger mentally Barbara is than almost any of them, right? Because she had this kind of little closet where she keeps her Oracle wheelchair and
Yeah.
all these books of self help and physical therapy
The
and post
calendar, the
traumatic
appointments,
stress,
right? That
the
shows
calendar
everything.
appointments for PT and all this stuff. Like, there was never a moment in Barbara's psyche that she was not going to walk again or she wasn't going to get better.
So there's one thing I wanted to ask you with Barbara. This kind of goes to my theory. I think now is a good time to bring it up.
Yeah.
The fact that we see the Barbara reflection on Batman's mirror, like us focusing again to look at
Yeah.
her letting Jason kill one of the Jokers, right? And
I
then
don't know if
we
she
see
let him. I just think it happened.
arguably, right? You
Yeah.
could argue yes, you could argue no, right?
Like she wasn't upset about it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then also we still see her have the reminders every day of it, right? Just like Jason has the hood to remind us of every day, she keeps the physical mementos.
Mhm.
What if this book creates the third Joker? What if it's we the whole time we're focused on Red Hood? What if it's Batgirl? What if they take her to do that twist? I don't want that. I don't think it's good, but
Uh-huh.
I'm just putting that idea out there. I wanted to get your feedback, people watching, and your feedback, Chris.
Yeah. I personally, I thought about it for a quick second
Right?
about Barbara because it kind of was like those little, almost like TV show hints, right? Like we
Mm-hmm.
talk about all the time in The Boys and other shows. Like a cue. I don't. I think that point would be made more if we didn't see all the like mental toughness behind the scenes stuff in that scene with Jason, where you see the self help books and all that stuff. I think that kind of proves it can't be Barbara because she's
Yeah.
almost too strong to be turned into the Joker. And personally, this book made me even love the character of Barbara Gordon
Oh yeah.
and Batgirl more because, like, I don't know if you have, I've been through PT plenty of times.
Mm.
For my ankle, I shattered my ankle. I shifted a kneecap. Like, I have so many injuries that I've like done like the walking things like when I was younger and different ankle exercises from
Oh wow.
sports. PT is not fun. And it's mentally exhausting as much as physically. So the thought process of her having a bullet in her spine and not being able to walk in that process on me connected to me in a personal level that was like really like I did not see coming. So that was really cool. But no, I think her mental toughness kind of
Outweighs
showed in
it.
this, and what you said too, right? Like she's kind of grilling Bruce of
Mm-hmm.
like, what are you gonna do? He just killed Joker, right? Like, what are you gonna do? And Bruce's answer is like, let's just get to him,
Yeah. Like
And it's like that's not good enough. What are you
he's
gonna do? Like
Bruce is
Barbara to me
also
is
being super calm, like abnormally calm during this, and I think we're gonna get the reason why.
maybe,
It's kind of hard to feel like the next issue is gonna be the last issue because
yeah. It doesn't
there's a
feel
lot.
like it's a conclusion, right?
Yeah, there's a lot they have to wrap up, and maybe it's gonna be a bigger issue. I'm sure.
Oh, it's probably gonna be like $10.
The one thing I wanted to talk about, which we didn't touch upon, there was a death of, I forget who. There was a death in a room,
Mhm.
with a trophy. We
It
find
was
out
one of the old mayors of Gotham,
that's what it was.
or judges of Gotham, one of the other.
That's what it was. One of the old judges of Gotham.
Mhm.
The trophy had the fingerprints of Joe Chill on it.
Yes.
They go into, I guess, Arkham or no, Blackgate. They go into Blackgate. My apologies. They walk past two cells. We see the names of Dr. Phosphorus, Alexander Sartorius. We
Mhm.
also see a deep cut of Rupert. He's a crime boss and old politician in DC Comics, which I didn't even know. But we had to look him up before the show. Me and
Yeah,
Chris were.
if he's not like Carmine Falcone, I was kind of like, who the hell is this?
Exactly. Maybe he has some ties to that judge. I have no idea. There might be a reason they showed it. There might not be. But more
Yeah.
importantly, they go to Joe Chill's cell. It's empty. We find out he has cancer, right? And he's in like the medical ward. He's been there the whole time.
Mhm.
And Batman's sitting there thinking like, why did they make me come here? Obviously, they came, took his fingerprints somehow, put it on the statue. Why make me come here to look at this? He's looking at the bigger picture, the whole side of it. Then it cuts towards the end of the issue. We see Joker has some old man kidnapped, captured, and he's recording him on a camera. And I
Mhm.
think that's Joe Chill, if I'm not
It
wrong.
is Joe Chill. It
It
was
is,
Joe
right?
Chill, and he asked him, I need you to tell me the real reason you killed Thomas and Martha Wayne that night,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the Joker asking it. So there's a couple theories here. I mean, one is I don't know how like they're gonna do it, but could they possibly have Joe Chill be the next Joker?
What if Joe Chill was the original Joker?
Well, no, we see the original Joker,
Yeah,
right? Remember,
I
because he's like,
no,
oh, I'm the
I
oldest
know
kind of
what they
thing.
told us.
Oh, okay. Like if there's a twist.
I'm saying there's a twist. What if that's the original Joker and they don't know, and he fixed himself, got rid of it after he killed it because he knew he had to do something to get a cure, to be cured of the Joker thing, and then it went to somebody else. Maybe they could do some weird twist like that. Because
Maybe.
making Joe Chill the third Joker, it's like the whole idea of Joe Chill being a Joker as something that's been done, right? It's not done in comics, but like the idea of it. It's been talked
Mm,
about for years. Joe
yeah.
chose the Joker. He killed Batman's family, this and this. And maybe this is the pretty bow that wraps it up like, oh, Joe Cho is now a Joker because of this event. But I don't think that gives us the satisfying ending that we kind of want as comic book fans because they know that's kind of like one of the things we're expecting.
Or does it give? I don't know if this book gives an ending. I
It
don't
might
know if this
not.
book is going to have an ending. I think this book it's 3 issues, and we're both in the second issue yet penultimate at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if even with an oversized issue 3, if you could wrap everything up in a bow. I think it's going to wrap up some stuff and leave stuff open for either future, because again, it's a business. If the book's selling and we know the book's selling,
Yes, it's selling.
do they do a part 2 or whatever the case?
They might do a part 2 because they might just do it like, oh, this Three Jokers book might just become the story of Three Jokers, why there's Three Jokers, and now Batman knows officially the answers to that, right? Because we still don't
Yeah,
know why. The why is the real question, right? I
yeah.
don't think we're gonna get to a resolution of all right. Here's their plan, and Batman beats the plan. Or
Mhm.
here now we only have one Joker because the other one got killed, and they're not making anymore. I can see your point of view, Chris. That like, oh, they're just answering the why question in this book, and then in Three Jokers, damn, the Three Jokers, blah blah blah. Here
Three
is
Jokers
the
Volume 2.
yeah, here's the results, which makes sense because it's a business, the book sells, and ultimately, I think that might be better because you can't really wrap everything up we want in this one issue. Maybe you
Yeah, no,
can, and we just don't know.
I agree with you too. I agree with that sentiment of, you know, it's a story of we might get the big reveal of why, which was the overarching question from like 3-4 years ago at this point.
Yeah, wow.
And that may be the answer, but everything else is kind of left open and is either going to be talked about in future Batman or Detective Comics. But
Mm-hmm.
this is a detective story, and
Yeah, it definitely feels like it.
at its core, it's a detective story. And I think the one side we haven't talked about is Bruce, besides
Mm-hmm.
his kind of demeanor with whatever happened with Jason. I think one, this proved that like Batman is crazy, right?
He's too calm. He's too calm
Like
about this whole
it's
thing.
not even the calmness like that to me. Like I don't consider that being a big thing, because I feel like there's people who panic and there's people who don't.
Yeah, but like Batman has a more of sense of urgency when Joker poisons the water supply. When Riddler
No, like
takes over
he's
thing. Like I don't feel like there's a big sense of urgency with him.
No, there was. I mean, he's racing in his car to get to Jason to make sure he's okay and not doing anything else
I
crazy. I
guess.
just think he's in here, he's calm because he's calculating a billion things at the same time. And but I think
Yeah.
what this book kind of proved is that for Bruce and Batman, beyond anything, Gotham comes first,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that proved it because he literally stated like, yeah, I didn't do enough with Jason because I was out saving the damn city every night and didn't have time to
Hmm.
babysit Jason and go through PT and loves and hugs and kisses.
One of the things
And
he
I think
says
Barbara
was,
was like, hey, I didn't need that from you,
hmm
but he did.
hmm
And that's the difference between the mental toughness as well. And Bruce is like, well, that's why I wanted him to be like you, because you could figure it out without needing me to hold your hand while I'm saving the city, which is my priority.
yeah, he does one of these lines that says like, Jason is in trouble. We need to make sure he's safe, but we need to make sure everybody in Gotham is safe, right? The
There you go.
few of the many don't outweigh the few, whatever the phrase is.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the
Thank you. I didn't go to school.
few.
I was raised by woes.
I
So
was there with
guys,
you. You were there.
maybe
Maybe.
maybe there's three Robs and you don't know.
the three Rob storyline.
The three Rob storyline. One goes to school, one does the
One's playing
show,
video games all
one
day.
one's playing video games all day. Let me tell you which one is the happiest.
Yeah, right.
It's not the one that goes to school.
It's not the one that goes.
But guys, there's so much more to be revealed in the next issue. We're gonna keep you posted. That is our episode, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
And make sure, guys, you give a like, thumbs up, really helps the channel out. Subscribe, tell your friends, help us grow. We're working really hard for you. And as always, I'm Chris Heller. That's Rob.
So, guys, that is our review of Three Jokers, issue number 2. One more issue left. We want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Let us know your theories for issue 3, what you think of this issue now. Thank you so much for watching.
And guys, make sure you put a thumbs up, help the video and help the channel out a lot. Subscribe, share with your friends, help us to keep growing. And thank you so much for all you've done already. And as always, I'm Chris Heller. That's Rob Moran.
And if you guys like our content, want to see more, click on the screen above us. You can see our subscribe icon, and you can see some more videos.